Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and as you can see, we are not in studio yet again today. This is a Pulse web exclusive, folks, and we are here in Hoboken, New Jersey at Lola's Tapas Bar, which of course is one of my favorite restaurants here in the Mile Square City, but we're actually not here to review the food. We have been getting plenty of emails from local community organizations here in Hoboken to try to cover some of their events, whether they're community outreach programs or their political committees. So tonight, we are actually at the Lincoln Dinner for the Hoboken Republican Committee, and it's also being sponsored by the Hudson County Young Republicans. We're going to go inside. We're going to get some interviews. I am going to be as bipartisan as possible because I don't lean left. I don't lean right. I'm right up the middle for all you Pulse viewers out there. Let's head inside of Lola's and let's have a little fun. Peter Biancamano of the Pulse with Peter B. here at Lola's Tapas Bar here in Hoboken, New Jersey. And we're joined by a very, very special guest, co-chairman of the Hudson County Young Republicans, Mr. Matt Garofalo. Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Peter. Thank you.
Great to hear, great to hear. So Matt, what brings you to this wonderful event here at the Lincoln Dinner tonight?
So I am here as the co-chairman of the Hudson County Young Republicans to show our support for the Hoboken GOP, who helped put together this excellent dinner. And we're really just trying to get some like-minded Republicans together to celebrate the things that really make this party great. An inclusive environment, collaborative environment, and just trying to try to grow the party organically through events like this.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And it's almost coming into like the lion's den, Hudson County, correct? It's such a blue county where, of course, the Democrats usually do very, very well. But I know that Hoboken, and let me know if you agree with this or not, Hoboken is kind of changing those demographics just a tiny bit. They're starting to become more and more registered Republicans from the look of this crowd tonight, which is absolutely phenomenal. Would you agree with that or not?
I would certainly agree with that. And the more kind of I get out on the streets and talk to people and try to grow the party, the more you realize there are a lot of registered Democrats who might be looking for another option on the ballot. You know, they're tired of voting for the same Democratic political machine that has kind of ruled over Hudson County for the last however many decades. They're really looking for another party to kind of promote transparency and ethical government. And I think the Republican Party, especially in this area and the state as a whole, can really provide that to them. So I do agree that Hoboken is, and this area is extremely blue, but I think people are very receptive to our message and very eager to find, an alternative to vote for and support.
And what's absolutely even more amazing is the genre that you represent, Hudson County Young Republicans. I mean, statistically, and possibly that's shifting too, statistically, usually younger people do tend to vote along the Democratic line. But would you say that you're starting to see an increase of people joining your organization?
I would absolutely say that. It isn't as well played up in the media in terms of, that you watch on your mainstream news network. But there is really a growing youth movement amongst conservatives and Republicans across this country. And it kind of is in response to all the backlash that you're seeing against Trump. So, you see on the news, you see all these kind of fringe liberal groups who kind of dominate all the airspace. But in response to that, there are some, conservatives and Republicans who are kind of rising up to say, we support these values, we support traditional values. We aren't just the typical millennial voter, we're not typecast that way. So it really is extraordinary to see the level of support that the conservative movement is getting across the country and in New Jersey especially.
Well, that's fantastic, and we're glad to say at the Pulse we are, nonpartisan. We try to cover everything. That's why we're here tonight. We love our community, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We will cover any event. So, Matt, just if you could just let the audience know, I guess, if let's say somebody's watching that wants to be involved in the Hudson County Young Republicans, what would you say? What was your message to them? How can they get involved? And basically, maybe talk about some of the upcoming events that you might have.
Certainly. So the easiest way to stay in touch with the Hudson County Young Republicans is to like us on Facebook, Hudson County Young Republicans, at Hudson GOP on Facebook. That's the easiest way to follow all our updates, get all the news and the events. And coming up specifically, we have happy hours and meetings every month to kind of just get people together to discuss, grab a drink after work, network a little, meet some new people who are, like-minded conservatives and Republicans, like myself and like the other members of our group. And then coming up in March, we have a event with the Leadership Institute in Hoboken where we will be kind of doing a workshop on grassroots conservative activism. So that'll be very exciting. And again, if anyone out there in the audience wants to get involved with that, like our Facebook page, Hudson County Young Republicans, at Hudson GOP. Easiest way to stay up to date on the events we're planning.
That's fantastic. And before I let you go, because I'm a guy that likes to put people's backs against the brick wall with type of any type of predictions or anything like that. What you know, as you know, obviously the presidential election is a short, about year and a half away, we'll say, maybe a little more than a year and a half. I mean, obviously, the Republican Party, it was a blue wave in the midterms this past November. Give me a prediction. Do you feel like President Trump's going to get reelected?
I would push back a little on the blue wave. It was more like, a very small blue wave. But I do think President Trump will win in 2020. As I look at the Democratic field and the way they're shifting so far left, you hear all these candidates coming out as socialists and these trillions and trillions of dollars spending plan. I think the more the American people get to know what the Democratic Party really stands for in 2019 and 2020, they'll begin to reject that idea of socialism and really start to come to the Republican Party. Because if you look at the results that President Trump has put up, it's really quite fabulous. I mean, we have de-escalating tensions with North Korea. The economy is booming. It's really his accomplishments. When you really sit back and have to cast a vote, I think the choice will be quite clear to a lot of voters.
Well, Matt, thank you for joining us. The co-chair of the Hudson County Young Republicans here in Lola's Tapas Bar in Hoboken. Matt, thanks again. Pleasure. Absolutely. We'll be back with another interview, folks.
They were the same thing. Never checked.
Peter Biancomano of the Pulse of Peter B. in our web exclusive today here at Lola's Tapas Bar in Hoboken, New Jersey at the Lincoln Dinner, which is brought to you by the Hoboken Republican Committee and also the Hudson County Young Republicans. And we have a very, very special guest joining us today, and that is the chairman of the Hoboken Republican Committee and an overall really, really good guy, my good friend Chris Carbine. Chris, how are you tonight?
Excellent. Thanks for coming out, Peter, for Lincoln Day.
Well, it's good. It's great to be here, and you have to be absolutely impressed with the audience that this brought. Well, not so much the audience, the attendance that this brought out. Correct?
Yeah. Well, much like Democrats in town, Republicans are excited about their candidates too. So when we announced the dinner, we thought, we'd get an all right response, and it would have been even bigger than we thought.
And it's absolutely fantastic. And I know you guys did a little bit of a speech before, and in the speech you were talking about how important the next presidential race is actually going to be. And one of the things that has impressed me over the years is that the Republican Party, especially in the municipality of Hoboken, has been growing and growing. Would you agree?
Yes. Well, I mean, the numbers bear that out. Chris Christie carried Hoboken in the last gubernatorial election. So, and a lot of the newcomers to town are Republicans. It's just a matter of reaching them and getting them involved. So, and of course, we have some members on our committee who have been on for 30 years. So, but we all get along, the newcomers and people who've been here for decades. So.
Right. And I have to ask you, there was a little bit of a blue wave in the last November's election, especially in the state of New Jersey, where I believe out of 15 congressional seats, that's including the 2 U.S. senators, there's only 1 Republican seat. Does that any type of concern going into the presidential race next year?
Oh, well, of course, we got kicked around a little bit, as happens from time to time. But if you're a party that exists in perpetuity, as the Republican Party is, you always have to come back from it. That's what shows that your party is sustainable. So, yeah, it was a setback, but it's behind us, and we're looking forward. So.
Well, that's a good way of looking at things. That certainly is. Now, the Hoboken Republican Committee. Great turnout tonight. Obviously, your party, in terms of actual committee people, is growing as well, from what I understand. Can you just let our audience know, if anybody that might be interested in becoming a Republican committee person here in Hoboken or anywhere in Hudson County, or any type of events that you have coming forward, what do they have to do, and possibly some events that they can attend?
Well, we'll be on Washington Street for the Arts and Music Festival in May. We do those twice a year, every year, and have a booth, voter registration, that kind of thing. And if they want to reach out and get involved more, they can reach us at Hoboken Republican Committee at gmail.com.
That's perfect. That is Chris Carbine, the chairman of the Hoboken Republican Committee, here at the Lincoln Day dinner at beautiful Lola's Tapas Bar in Hoboken, New Jersey. We have one more interview from a very, very, very special guest coming up. Stay tuned, everybody. Chris, thank you for joining us. Peter Biancomano of the Pulse of Peter B. still here at beautiful Lola's Tapas Bar, one of my favorite restaurants in Hoboken with absolutely delicious food. And I'm not saying that because the owner, Andrea, is standing right in front of me. But we are here with an extremely, extremely, extremely familiar face, folks. Our political analyst, Mr. Josh Sotomayor Einstein. So for the folks that don't know this, Josh is actually a strong member of the Republican Party, if you couldn't tell from the show. We tend to just stick to county and local issues on the show purposely. But Josh, tonight, it is the Lincoln Dinner that's brought to you by the Hoboken Republican Committee as well as the Hudson County Young Republicans. And what do you think of this turnout?
So it's absolutely great. I mean, we have Republicans of all stripes and types, conservatives, libertarians, smaller government, social conservatives, everybody under the big tent of the Republican Party here, enjoying wonderful food, great tapas, great Spanish food, talking, about Abraham Lincoln, what's going on in our town, what's going on in our county, the ridiculous new taxes that Governor Murphy wants to make, and how we can build a better New Jersey that's more affordable for everyone in our state and a better country as well, because there's an economic boom going on in the rest of the country that New Jersey is unfortunately absent from because of the policies coming out of Trenton. And as you said, I am involved. I know we don't talk about it in our show, but I am involved in the GOP. I'm actually on the state committee of the New Jersey Republican Party. And we have an amazing conference that's coming up, the second annual NJGOP Leadership Summit in Atlantic City that I'll be going to this weekend. And some of these fine people will be coming as well. And it's just, whether it's this dinner or the leadership activist training that we have coming up at the end of next month, or the summit in AC, it's all about bringing together like-minded activists that want to build a better New Jersey, that want to build a more affordable New Jersey, that understand you can't tax your way to prosperity. Just sharing ideas and meeting each other and building a movement, because that's what New Jersey needs.
And one of the things that was mentioned, and I know I spoke to Chris Carbine and Matt from the Hudson County Young Republicans about this before, was that Hudson County, well, New Jersey, but specifically Hudson County is a deep, deep blue county. But what we're seeing more and more of, especially in Hoboken, is the Republican Party growing. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's the result of a lot of people in the grassroots making the effort to reach out and to talk to friends and to discuss the issues, and not to be dogmatic and not to shout down people that disagree with them. And that's a lot of what you see, unfortunately, on some of the excesses of the other side. People that are just wanting to yell and scream. And that's not what political discourse is about. That's not what classical liberalism is about. And that's not what civil society is about. And very much so the Republican Party in Hoboken and in New Jersey is committed to civil society and that civil discourse and the battle of ideas, not at yelling at people, but discussing ideas. And we look at the ideas that are coming out of Trenton, that were coming out of city halls across Hudson County. What do we see? We see virtue signaling. We see symbolic politics. We see raising taxes. That's the solution for everything. They want to raise taxes all the time, as if New Jersey isn't taxed enough. And again, you can't tax your way to prosperity. It's the definition of insanity, as Albert Einstein once said, to repeat the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
Any relation to Albert Einstein?
No relation.
No relation. Now, Josh, obviously the midterm elections just passed, and certainly in the state of New Jersey, there was almost a blue wave, as they like to say. If we look at our 15 congresspeople, including our 2 U.S. senators, there is only one representative that belongs to the Republican Party. What could the Republican Party do to maybe capture some of those seats back?
Well, so there's 3 really important things to keep in mind when we talk about the most recent midterm election and the upcoming congressional election. And the first one is that all the Democrats that told Republicans in I believe it was in Alabama about Roy Moore that they had to go against him because he was immoral and because he was a horrible person. Well, the Republican Party said no to him because he was just too slimy. Those same Democrats then said, we're going to back Menendez, even though Menendez was the definition of institutionalized and establishment corruption. So there's a segment of the Democratic Party which is committed to its party, whether or not its people are completely immoral or not. And those are not the Democrats that we need to talk to, because there's a lot of Democrats, the vast majority, who are common sense and understand that they're seeing less of their less of their dollars, in their wallet because of the policies that are coming out of Trenton. The second thing that we have to realize is that when we talk about the quote-unquote blue wave, yes, in New Jersey it was a blue wave. But if we look at the country in entirety, and if we're knowledgeable about the country's actual history, it was rather a paltry showing for the opposition party in the midterm elections. And if we look at what actually happened, instead of the Democratic propaganda, the Republicans picked up and grew their majority in the Senate, whereas many past elections in the midterms, the opposition party, Republican or Democrat, wins the House and wins the Senate. And they didn't, the Democrats didn't because of their extremism. And that brings us to the upcoming congressional election. We see what happened right now. In Trenton, the Democratic extremists are pushing through legislation to get Trump off the ballot, to ban his name from being on the ballot because he has not released his tax returns, which is something that all these Democratic leaders are saying that Trump has to do, but it's something that they're not applying to themselves, which just proves the fact that the Democratic leadership in Trenton, whether it's Murphy or any of the legislative leaders, are hypocrites because they're saying Trump has to do something that they're not willing to do themselves. And they're doing it on purpose because they want to depress the Republican turnout, because a lot of the districts that they did pick up in New Jersey, at least 3 to 4 of them, are actually Republican-leading districts. So they're playing these games where they're saying, the vote is sacrosanct, except if you're going to vote for Trump.
Well, it's probably safe to say, as you know, Senator Cory Booker did announce his intentions to run for president against President Trump next year. It's probably safe to say that even though he's a local guy, you're not going to be supporting him.
I think on a personal level, Senator Booker is an absolutely wonderful mensch of a person, and I love how he delivers stories. But if we look at his actual track record, Newark is in the same state as when he left it. The $100 million that he received in private donations to help the school system there did not go anywhere. And we're seeing right now the revelation of the water poisoning in terms of lead and other chemicals that happened on his watch. So yeah, he's really good at getting social media attention. But was he good as a mayor? The people of Newark don't think so. Has he been good as a senator? He speaks very eloquently, but he also has a tendency to make up stories. Like it's actually on the record when he made up a story about a dying drug dealer that he held in his arm named T-Bone. All right. And supposedly there's a police report about it, except numerous journalists and investigative agencies have Oprah'd the forms, and the event never happened, and he just makes things up left and right. So on a personal level, I would love to get a drink with the guy. He's a wonderful person. But in terms of leadership and integrity and track record, he has none.
And Josh, and certainly not you, but Republicans in the state of New Jersey are sometimes almost like embarrassed in a way to kind of show their true political colors. And how many Democrats have we spoken to in the past who have said, I'm a Democrat, but I voted for Trump? I mean, what's with the embarrassment, you think? Do you think that it's just because we're such a blue state that people just don't want to, get their neighbors angry or their friends angry? What's with it?
Well, so it's two things. One, it goes back to what we were talking about before. We talk about the extremist leftists shouting down and yelling at everyone that disagrees with them. Everyone that disagrees with them is transphobic, racist, anti-Semitic, white supremacist, and all these other verbiage. It's a way of shutting down the debate. And the extreme left, which is driving a lot of the conversation on the left, does that all the time. But I mean, if you look around here and you see all these people, no one looks ashamed, do they?
Absolutely not. Now, Josh, I did ask this of Matt and I did ask this of Chris, who I interviewed before. Can you just, if there's a member of the audience watching right now who wants to get involved in the local Republican Party or the county Republican Party or even the state Republican Party, because as you mentioned, you're a state committee person, what can they do and what type of events do you have that they might be able to attend going forward?
So first of all, if they want to get involved, you can give me a call. My number is 201-926-6810. That's 201-926-6810. If I don't pick up, leave a message. It's probably because I might be worried that you're a spammer. We all get calls from the IRS that are not actually the IRS. But yeah, give me a call. And on March 31st, we're actually proud to invite you to attend a grassroots activism training by the Leadership Institute. So they're going to come and they're going to be at the Barsky Gallery. It's on a Sunday. Lunch will be provided. It's going to be $20, and you'll be able to learn about all the different ways that you can organize and build coalitions and craft good messaging, be able to communicate with people more effectively.
Well, Josh Sotomayor-Einstein, as you can see, we've had about 16 episodes on The Pulse, and he's just been dying to talk about national politics. And folks, don't get used to it because we're going back to county and government issues when we're back in studio. But our political analyst has joined us. Josh, thank you so much for joining us. Great job with the party tonight. It's an absolute pleasure. Folks, when we come back, I'll have my closing statements. We'll be back. Peter Biancamano of the Pulse with Peter B. We're closing up our special web exclusive here at Lola's Tapas Bar in Hoboken, New Jersey at the Lincoln Dinner, which is presented by the Hoboken Republican Committee and the Hudson County Young Republicans. And folks, I just want to mention, sometimes politics divides us in our communities, and certainly I did not agree with everything that was said on this program today. For people who know me personally, they would think that, oh my God, what is he doing at an event like this? And you would be 100% correct about that. But we are still a community. We are still each other's neighbors. We do still love each other as friends and things like that. So it's important that we just get along and not go based on the rhetoric down in Washington, D.C. Anyway, just wanted to give a little bit of 2 cents there. This is Peter Biancamano of the Pulse of Peter B. Join us next time for your one-stop shop for sports picks, politics and government chatter, and even some neighborhood restaurant reviews. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.